Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about origins. We've yesterday or last time talked about some of the different theories that present themselves as creationism, such as theistic evolution. We are going to continue that today with some other theories, with creation part 2, with other theories that present themselves as creationism theories. Okay, the first one is called the Deage Theory, and this is basically an idea that says that the day that's described in Genesis, the 24-hour day, was actually a significantly longer period of time. This is generally based upon the Bible verse from 2 Peter 3 that says, "Beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing. One day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day." So they take that and they take it completely out of context, and they make it say that each day listed in Genesis as an event happening is actually a significantly longer time period. Some will specifically say it's 1,000 years because of the verse, and others will simply say it's a long period of time, which could even mean millions of years. If you actually go to 2 Peter chapter 3, assuming my computer will let me, there we go. If you read that section, what it's talking about is people are complaining that everything has been as it has been since the beginning of creation, and they're saying that, where's God in all of this? He hasn't taken care of anything. And, why hasn't he come back and fixed everything? And Peter is reminding them that basically God's outside of time, and that really, since God is infinite, 1,000 years or a day is insignificant. God is outside of time. It's not that God is waiting such a long time. It's that he is not affected by 1,000 years. It's nothing to him. Okay, so it is completely taken out of context. Feel free to read that section on your own if you don't believe what I say. You're also welcome to do a lot of research on that. One of the difficulties that Scripture has, specifically with the Deage theory, that's often mentioned, is in the Hebrew, the book of Genesis uses the word yom. You're going to have to take my word for it, just like I have to take the Hebrew-speaking people or Hebrew-reading people, that yom means a day. That's how it is translated. It's translated day. Okay? Now, there are sometimes metaphorical meanings and things like that. However, the word yom that's used in Genesis when it's referring to creation as a day, every other time that word is used in the Bible is referring to a literal 24-hour day. It is never used metaphorically. It is never used to indicate anything other than a 24-hour day. So the Deage theory there doesn't really work. However, there are people that still believe it. The next theory that is presented is called progressive creationism. This is the idea that God did create, and then sometimes things went extinct, so he made something else. And it became extinct, so he made something else. And that God, over time, has been creating. And that it looks like evolution, or it could be considered evolution, like God's changing what his creation is for something better. The idea being that God is still creating. Lots of times this is also believing in the ideas of the old earth theory. Lots of people that believe progressive creationism believe in the Big Bang, that they will say that God used the Big Bang to create and then he continues to create. However, there gets to be a significant issue, because if you look in the Bible and you look at the records of the time periods based on a compilation of all of the timelines of things, it would say, according to progressive creationists, that before the creation as we know it, there were previous existences, that all of the fossil records and dinosaurs and the people like the Neanderthals and Cro-Magnon all were here before God created what we now experience and before he created mankind as we know it. That brings into play some interesting problems related to what you believe about humanity. That would say that all of those millions of years before Adam and Eve were created, that there was death, there was disease, there was suffering. Because if you look at these fossils, there's evidence for all of that. And they also hold for the belief that the people that lived before this time were soulless, like a plant, that they had no relationship with God. So it does create some theological problems. It also does create some scientific ones, or at least logical ones, as to how all of that would work. You know, it's kind of like saying that, you know, all of this existed and then God kind of hit the stop button and then started up again and continued to create. But everything before Adam and Eve was different. You know, and that is not what it says in the Bible. If you look at the book of Genesis, it says that the earth was formless and void. In other words, nothing was there. So it kind of is strange. These are not mainstream ideas. A lot of these ideas are trying to take the scientific idea of evolution and figure out how it relates to creation without tossing God out. So some of these ideas of how things work are strange, and some of the ones we're going to see in the next time that we talk are even quite a bit stranger. Feel free to do some extra research on these. There is a lot of information about these. More people believe these things than you would believe. Okay, I will talk to you next time.